hope you have a pleasant night. Today and every Monday we always cover to talk about every type of sins and how we can self-reflect, recognize the traits, and how to have godly help and intervene so they can sin doesn't bondage us or change our heart. Today's topic is bigotry. Of course, it's alpha topic discussion, but bigotry can come in many forms, especially as a stubborn, unstaying, narrow-minded attachment to one's and beliefs, and to hostility towards those who hold different views. Of course, there are many types between the wars with verses that bits of beliefs and many doctrines that we still somehow fighting, even though we all have the same worldview. How we treat others from differences of rich or poor, how we treat others from different nations, different beliefs or religion. Not to say to convert or tolerate in their belief, but be respectful and understanding, as you want to be understood by our faith. Try to understand, because understanding is the biggest step to help one another and faith and find the path of truth in Jesus. And this goes for everyone, even to the debates of Paul verses. Either way, there's many ways to bigotry, even more than arguing. These are the traits that you need to find yourself or others, because it can be subtle, but it's a character trait that is toxic. Unwilling to listen, stereotype and generalization, contempt and hostility, self-righteous, double standards on everybody, justifying their prejudice, supremacy and entitlement. They believe their own other than the others are deliberately. In the Bible, this is sustained unreasonable attachment to one's belief and prejudice against another. It's against the law. It's against the law against favoritism. It's against loving your neighbors, and it's against the nature of God to love one another. God created us all differently. We are not all equally. We all came from different nations, language. We all have different genders and problems. We all have different denominations. We all different from one another. Even people, even if it's wrong, they follow different religion, but doesn't mean we have to treat them any less, because God still loved them. To the LGBTQ people, to others who works in sins, because God, again, let me make this clear, do not tolerate sins or join in sins or even celebrate sins. There's a difference. You can love one another because we are equally created in God's image. Not to say to tolerate any sins, but we need to go on way deeper than the sins. It's the person that God created. Instead of thinking you're superior because you're self-righteous in your own belief, if we had to call it belief, because that is fake faith. If you think you're above everybody else because you believe in God, if you truly believe God, you will know the message that God said to love one another, not to be held grudges or be prejudiced against one another. There are characters like these, like Miriam and Aaron, and I always gonna bring this up because of all the things that could go against Moses' authority, of all things, even if it's wrong, because they're questioning God's chosen one. But the all things that could go against him was his wife, who is a Cushionite woman, an Ethiopian woman. If you don't know what it is, Africa. If of all things they had to go against Moses, it's a Sephora who did nothing wrong but to be welcomed into the family. That's all. Even God had defended Sephora and punished Miriam, who was the one who initiated the plan. Jonah against Nineveh. If you truly don't know the true story of Jonah, he literally would rather drown dying than save Nineveh because of Amos prophecy, prophet Amos prophecy that Nineveh will destroy the Israelite. And because of his courage and fear, he decided waited for days that God was smiting him. Technically, God didn't go against his word because the same word that means destroy means to change. He didn't even realize that. And because he knew the mercy of God, he didn't want her to go. He literally want every one of them to suffer. And these are the people who suffer from bigotry. The Jews and Samaritan. The Jews were treated unequally for many years from different enemies, from different countries who conquered them. Even to this day, even the stereotype of them, you know the stereotypes. I don't need this to say anything. But again, the Jews are discriminated to Samaritans because some of the Israelites decided to pair up with Persian people, and this against Jewish law, against the Bible, to not marry somebody so unequal of different countries. Of course, they can marry different countries. It's the problem is when you marry to somebody who's not yielding to God's will, even let yourself be idolatrous to other gods, and this made them discriminate the Samaritans, even to the point where they avoid them instead of going to the straight line to Jerusalem. But Jesus avoid this because he sent Jews, Samaritan, Greek, non-Gentile, Romans, no matter what type of country he went to save. And the first one he announced that he was the Messiah was a Samaritan woman. The first evangelist, true evangelist. He never discriminated anybody because he created everybody equally, and he wanted to cut that bridge, to fix that bridge of separation and prejudice, especially when it comes to, especially to the disciples who were Galileans, who were known to not have no education whatsoever, and they treated it by having no education whatsoever. Some of them were sellers, some of them were accountants like Matthew, who were discriminated against because of what their wrongdoings, of who they were affiliated, and their intellectual. That God created everybody equal. Jesus chosen out of all the people, of all the teachers in the synagogue, he chose not because they're righteous, but because they were sinners and needed help. They were the great representation of the kingdom of God. Every one of them, even Judas, knowing that he would betray Jesus, Jesus would immediately have forgiven him if Judas stayed and have a second chance. Think about it. Even the freaking Pharisees or bigotry. You don't have to read enough Bible how against they were classicists. They were the ones who were above everybody because they're so self-righteous. Why wash tombs but dirty on the inside? Jesus said, not to offend, but it's the condition of heart they have that Jesus have a problem with. They self-proclaimed they were righteous, but lead straight so many, and because of it, they led straight many people because of their teachings. They read synagogues. They recite all 5 books of Moses. But it's telling what people who claim they know the Bible back to front. They're self-righteous. They don't know. But those are the first same people who are rotting on the inside. So be careful for yourself. Think of that reading the book, having enough knowledge, making yourself presentable, thinking that donations will save you or make you righteous, is the grace and love and sacrifice of Jesus that save you. Not yourself, or think about yourself highly than others. These are the tips to help. But I would recommend a counsel. Like I said, don't take it from me, but take a counsel to help you, please. And find friends that help you accountable, not yes people not just men or women. Find people who will have you a reality check, please. Acknowledge your bias. That's the first step. Notice that you have different favoritism to others. Notice that. Seek exposure. Like I said, find friends that will help you, and be exposed to the people you held against or have a grudge against. I know there are stereotypes, and many not know them too. But holding a grudge or have a prejudice against somebody won't lead you to good unless you learn by it. To learn the people, the culture. Not to be converted, but learn from people. Consume diversity, like I said. You need to be diverse. Not one ideology, not one mind. You can stay in faith. You need to stay firm in faith. But you need to explore way above your mind and your own understanding. And practice empathy is the most important thing. You cannot do all of these if you not open your heart. And to the response to people who hear bigotry, please speak immediately when somebody says something offensive. Please shut it down. Don't converse it. Don't try to tempt it. Don't play with fire. Just shut the conversation down. Ask to clarify a question like, what do you mean by that? Because there's double meaning of what they're saying. Stay clear from your friends or people that discernment. Use your discernment. Because there are people who will hide their prejudice, their bias, their grudges against person, and you need to clarify that. But don't jump the gun, because you need to have a conversation with patience. Do not immediately jump the gun and assume. Ask with patience and conversations. Know and clarify what they're saying is true. Ask a Bible verse for inspiration. Acts chapter 10, verse 34 to 35. And it says, So Peter began to speak. Now I realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts from every nation that one fears Him, and that's what is right. It's as simple as that. And this goes to every denominational fight. Why are we fighting? Why are we held against one another? And stereotypes of prejudice or debates. When we can trust in the Lord. God doesn't have favorites. God doesn't favor one another. He loves every one of us equally as His own person. Even the sinners, who is waiting for them to open their arms, to open their heart, to find salvation. Even to those, there's no partiality, there's no hostility to nobody. Everybody's equal in His eyes. Of course, the righteous are held more close because those are His people. Doesn't mean He won't accept anybody who is welcoming. As Peter was against eating food, but that's a symbolism to the people in diversity. God already broke that law that condemns, so everybody can be free in grace. And because of Peter, not because of Peter, but the guidance of God, Jesus Christ, I got Him to open that door for everybody. Samaritan, non-Jews, even to the world. Because of the jobs of the apostles, because Jesus has commanded, as God said to Abraham, through you many nations will be blessed, and that promise is still holding until the last day. We're still accountable to make that commandment, but only if we have a true heart of forgiveness, not holding grudges or prejudice. Think away from the bigotry and be free and loving as Christ. Not to tolerate sins or avoid sin, but to love one another, even to the sinners, even to the people, different diversity, different religion. Everybody's open to the arms of God. As you show that love, you need to demonstrate it by opening ones to you. Amen to that.